Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join today's webinar. My name is Ponsili Sahib, and I'm a solution project manager at Factory Talk. Okay. For the past 13 years, I have been helping pharmaceutical and life science companies for implement electronic quality management system, supporting organization as they transition from the paper-based quality to the process digital operations. Today, I would like to share not just what digital quality solutions can do, but more importantly, how organizations move from the configuration to the real operation use quickly and with confidence. Okay. So today we going to, sorry. Today we going to demonstrate something very practical. Rather than spending the sessions talking about the feature, we will walk through the configurations. We will walk through the configurations and end-to-end journey to how digital quality form can be configured, validated, and made available to the end user, all within the single platform. And by the end of the sessions, you will see how change move from configurations to the production without coding, without software customizations, and with a streamlined validation process. Okay. So before we talk about the digital quality form, let's first look at why this matters. Despite the significant investment in the digital transformations, many organizations are still relying on the paper form, spreadsheets, emails, and manual approval to manage critical quality processes. At first glance, this method may seem familiar and easy to use. However, as operations grow, they often become a major source of inefficiency and risks. For example, the quality team spends significant amount of time maintaining a manual logs, updating the spreadsheet, and searching through the email threads just to track a one single quality event. The approval can also take days because documents need to be routed between a different department for the review and e-signatures. Another common challenge is the lack of the real-time visibility. It's often difficult to know where the record is in the process, who currently owns it, or what action is required next, right? The data integrity is another concern when the same information has to be entered multiple times into the different documents or different systems. The risk of the human error increase significantly. And finally, when an audit takes place, teams often spend hours searching through the folder, the shared drive, or the paper file just to locate the historical records and supporting evidence. These challenges don't just affect efficiency, they also impact the compliance, traceability, and the ultimate product quality. That's why many organizers are looking for a better way to manage their quality process. Okay, a successful digital quality form should make work easier, improve compliance, and help team respond faster. These are four core principles. First, it should be easy to use. The form should guide the user to enter the right information quickly and accurately, reducing training times and minimizing the errors. Second, it should be controlled and traceable. Every action, every change, every approval should be recorded automatically to the support, the compliance, and the audit readiness. Third, it should be automate the process. Instead of relying on emails or manual follow-ups, the right people should be notified automatically and work should move to the next step without any delays. And finally, it should provide a real-time visibility. Everyone should be able to see the status of the quality events and identify bottlenecks as they happen. These principles sound like straightforward, but in reality, this is exactly where many organizations face challenges, right? On the paper, it sounds simple, but everyone want an easy to use system, automate workflow, better visibility, and a stronger compliance. But when it's time to implement a new system, the conversation quickly change. Yeah. When we talk with the quality team across the pharmaceutical industry, these are the concerns we hear again and again. The first concern is we don't want to change our processes. Most of the organizations have spent years refining their quality process to meet regulatory requirements and their own operational needs. The last thing they want is to redesign a process simply because the software cannot support the way they already work. The second concern is we can rely on IT for every change. The quality processes evolve over time, right? And a new SOP, a new regulatory requirements, or even a small improvement shouldn't require submitting an IT request or waiting a development cycle. The business team or the SME need the flexibility to adapt quickly while maintaining the control, right? The third concern is implementation will take too long. Many organizations assume that digitizing quality processes mean months of the configurations, testing, and the deployment before the user can see any values. That can delay improvement initiatives and reduce confidence in the project. And finally, validation will take too much effort. In regulated industry, the validation is essential. But when every change requires significant manual testing and documentations, even a small update becomes difficult to manage. Organizations need a way to maintain compliance while reducing the effort required to validate change. These concerns are exactly why many digital transformation projects slow down or never get started. So the real questions becomes how we can preserve existing processes, empower business user, simplify validations, and still go live quickly. So this is exactly where the AQEM takes a different approach. Let's look at how. So first, the flexible configurations. Rather than customizing the applications, the AQEM allow you to configure digital forms and the workflows using the built-in components. That means you can closely reflect your existing SOP and business processes while staying within the standard platform. The second is business-led change. The business requirements change all the time. Instead of waiting for the developer or submitting the IT requests, authorized business user, SME, can update their forms and workflow through a no-code configuration experience. This gives the quality team much greater agility while maintaining a governance and control. Third is the validation ready. In the regulated industry, every change must be properly validated. The AQEM include the built-in validation capability that automate the executions of the predefined validation test scenario. And it will generate a validation test execution report for the review and approval. So this helps reduce a manual validation effort while maintaining compliance. And finally, rapid deployment, because everything is configurations driven rather than the software customizations. So the organization can move much faster from a business requirement to the productions in hours instead of months. So this allows the quality team to respond quickly to process improvement without long implementation cycle. So what we do today? So we have discussed the challenge and how AQEM address them, right? Let's see in the actions. So today we will demonstrate uh, the system divided into four parts, following the complete journey from configuration to the real operational use. Uh, Part one, the end user experience, will begin with the perspective of the end user. We will simulate a real manufacturing scenario. We will log the deviations and unplanned deviations, lubricant leak on the packaging line 3 during the production of paracetamol lot B202, right? As we complete the deviation form, you can notice how the form is dynamically adapt based on the information that enter it into the form, and how the system automatically transfer the relevant information into the CAPA record without any manual re-entry. Part two, we will move to the administrator perspective. Imagine when you have a new SOP requirements, additional information that slight workflow change. Instead of writing the code or waiting for the IT, we'll update the form using the simple no code configurations. And we'll add like a new field and a new conditional fields, right? So you can see it on the demo today. Then part T, we will go to the validations. Once the configurations complete, we will validate the change. We will run the build into, we call it validations on demand, or VOD. The capabilities, it will automatically execute the predefined validation test scenario. The system will generate a validation test execution report, allowing us to review the result and complete the approval process with full traceability that significantly reduce the manual effort typically associated with the validating configuration change. And the last part, we will go live in actions. Finally, we will return to the end user perspective again. We will launch a brand new deviation using the updated configurations and immediately see the new field and the revised workflow available in the live system. Okay, so with that, let's move from the slide to the live system and see the entire journey in the actions. So let me stop. Okay, so as you can see here, now we are live inside master control. I will start by creating a new record. I will create a new event and I select the deviations and put the titles of the event. Yeah, and then select that the site affected and then create event. So the event is now created. So I will fill out the form, like originating department, the date of the occurrence, the awareness, the deviation type. We'll select the unplanned deviations. And then I will put the reference of the SOP PRO 0024, yes. And yeah, I input the scenario, external oil contaminations on blister foil at machine number 3. Yeah, under the immediate. Yeah, so I put the what, where, when it happened, and then the scope of the impact and who. And then the deviation category. So I will also put the product details. So it will pop up another sections to enter more information about the products related to the event. So I can put more about the product information here, like container of the product, lot number of the product. Yeah, and the expiration date of the product. Yeah, so it's only one product impacting. So I add one, and the quantity affected is 2,500 boxes. And then under the immediate actions, we will log that a 2,500 boxes were segregated to the quarantine area. So here we can add a multiple immediate containment. The second immediate actions. Okay. And put the date of the immediate actions. Yeah. So now everything is logged, and then I will continue to sign off, and this will route to the QA approval. So I need to put my user ID and the electronic signatures. So here, we are on the first part of the demo. This is the end user perspective. And now it's moved to the QA. QA will get the notifications. And then QA, yeah, I've switched to the QA account, and then you see QA receive the deviations. Yeah. Yeah, so based on our engineering review from the first step, I will select the equipment discrepancy. So this is like the investigation discrepancy and so this question is all configurable. Yeah, and I will select equipment discrepancy. The root cause was a degraded drive, the shaft oil seal on machine number 3. So I put the issue statements, issue categories, or the drop-down list here is also custom configurations, investigation summaries, and the investigation result, identify root cause. And this is the risk assessment. So in the risk assessment, I will select frequency of occasionally 2, and the impact of important is 5, which is determines our risk score as 10 or medium. Yeah. So because the product's impact is remain, yes. Yeah. And then the affected 2,500 boxes are recommended for rejections and destructions. And yeah, the system open our compliance pathway. So we can put a non-conformant reference for the product. Yeah, and then we will initiate a CAPA. Based on the risks, we will create a CAPA form. So now it's linked to the CAPA. We will open the CAPA. We will show you the data is transferred from the deviations form to the CAPA forms. So yeah, now we are signed off to complete the deviations, and then we will continue working on the CAPA forms. Yeah, so this is the first step of the CAPA forms. And you notice that all the data that was entered and the deviation is transferred to the CAPA. So you don't need to re-entry the data into the CAPA. Okay. So this is like the end user perspective. And now let's step behind the curtains. So this is move to the part 2 of the demo. So we will switch to the creator perspective of the builder. So we will see like how the form builder change the configurations. So, so first we will duplicate the template first. Yeah. And so imagine that our quality team has just updated an SOP and form now on. Every deviation need to check whether it's a repeat occurrence within last 12 months. Traditionally, this kind of change might require a development work, a customizations request, a week of waiting, but with the AQAM, we can make this change ourselves. So first, I will add a new checkbox on the first step of the form. So as you can see here, this is the form field, and then we will add a new sections. We will add the field, whether it's a repeat occurrence within the last 12 months. And then I will put it as the radio button. So the option is like yes and no. I will then add another sections, and will be a conditional field called previous deviation reference number. So I will put the text field to enter the deviation reference number. And this field will be populate only when the above option is selected to yes. So we will go to the above sections. We will edit the forms. Edit the form. Under yes, we will add the routes. The first one. No, the first step. Under yes. Yeah, we will route to yes. So we will show the previous deviation reference. Yeah. And then we click done. So as you can see here right now, this is the conditional. When the end user answer to yes, then the section previous deviation reference number will appear. So this is like to help the form is clean and only display when the relevant information to the user. So now let's move to the workflow designer. We will then add approval branches. So on the unplanned deviations, we will put this, branches, 2 branches for the QA approval and the productions approval. Yeah, inside the form, we will add just the QA justifications text field. And we also assign, we will assign the assigned user to this step of the workflow. Select the user, and then we go to the branch productions approval. We will add like There's simple text field on there for the production justification. We will assign the user to the production's approval step. Okay, and now we can move back to the unplanned. We will add the conditional workflow. So we will add a new sections, a review requirement sections. So we can name the sections review requirements. And then I will add like a radio button questions. So yeah, the product impact remain yes or no. If yes, then we will put the conditional workflow. It will route to the QA approval. Yeah. And then I will add another single choice. Yeah, radio buttons asking manufacturing process impact, yes or no. If yes, then it will route for the production's approval. Okay, so that's it. It's really quick. This is like we updating the workflow based on the updating SOP. And before we make this change available for everyone, there's a one important step here. We still need to complete the validations, right? So in the regulated environments, and every configuration change need to be validated before it can be released into productions or the live system. This is where validations on demand, or we call VOD, comes in, right? Instead of manually executing on every validation test, I will simply click run validation buttons on the screen. Behind the scene, the system will automatically execute a predefined set of the validation tests. It will run the predefined validation test script, including the appropriate workflow path and the business rules. Once the execution is complete, the AQEMS automatically generate the validation test execution reports. So let's open the execution test report. So this is the validation test execution report. So here we just review the test results. All the validation scenario have passed successfully or not. And you can see, yeah, the test environment and number of the tests execute, number of the tests pass, number of the tests fail. So we review all the test reports. Once we confirm the result, we can complete the review and approval process. Like if your organization requires additional approval documentations, we can also upload the approved validation report as a supporting evidence to maintain complete traceability for the change. Now, so that the validation has been complete and all required evidence is in place. So as you can see, now we will publish the update configurations. So yeah, with one click, the new forms and the workflows are now promoted to the productions and ready for use. So let's see what's that look like from the end user perspective. So we are back in the end user experience, and then we launch a new deviations that we just updated. Yes, and then you will notice that we are using the new versions of the forms. As you can see, there's a repeat occurring questions here. Like, and if you select yes, there's another sections appear. If you select no, it will not show the conditional field. Okay, so and as well, if you check on the workflow of this revised form, uh, the branch, yeah, you will see that it's already have two branch for the approval. Yeah, so it will go to the QA if the product impacts, right? And then it will go to the productions if, yeah, it's related to the productions. Yeah. Okay, so here, I before we finish, I would like to show more capabilities. So we will show the inside dashboard. So before we finish, this is like a quality events are created or of these informations become immediately available through the AQEM Insight. Here's the quality teams can monitor deviations, CAPAs, or other quality events in the real time. So actually, we can filter the dashboard by the products or by the site, by the status, by the owner, date range, or many other business dimensions. So instead of spending time collecting the information from spreadsheets or preparing the report manually, decision makers have immediate visibility into what's happening across the organizations. So this is mean the teams can identify trends earlier, monitor the performance more effectively, and make faster data-driven decisions. So I will try to filter by the status of the form in process. And then you will see that it's filtering the data, and then you can see that there's a 106 events in processes, and it will show the events by each event type, right? You can see how many of deviations, how many of change, how many of kappa. Yeah. So, and below here, if you scroll down, you will see like the launch by date. This is like the trend of the forms that is launched, right? Okay. So, let's take a final look. So I think, let me share the screen. Let me grab the screen. Okay. So let's take one final look at the journey we set out to complete today. So at the beginning of the sessions, we said we would follow the complete life cycles of a digital quality forms from setup to real actions. And that's exactly what we just accomplished, right? We started by experience the process from the perspective of an end user. Then we switched to the creator perspectives and updated the forms, field, and the workflow using a simple configurations. Next, we validated those changes using the built-in validations on demand capabilities. And then we published the updated configurations. And finally, we return to the end user experience to see those change immediately available in the productions. or this entire journey happened within a single platform, right? Without software customizations, without writing code, and with a streamlined validation process. So whether you are introducing a new quality process or you're updating your SOP or you're continuous improving existing workflow, I believe AQEM helps you move from configuration to production with confidence. And thank you for you joining the today's sessions. And now I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.